The NBA world was woken up with some of the craziest news this morning. Before 9 a.m., there was news that Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups were both handcuffed at 6 in the morning and arrested for illegal gambling. They had contacts and glasses that let people see what cards were at what spots on the table. They had x-ray tables. Both of these guys arrested for illegal gambling.
In a dimension where the game never stops, this is the It's Bucket Show.
Welcome back to the It's Bucket Show. My name is Buckets, and I quit my 9-to-5 job to bet on the NBA full-time. Yes, I used to work for the casino in the basement of FanDuel here in Connecticut. I used to track winners, track losers, learn how to be a much better bettor, and decided to quit my job to bet on the NBA full-time and help the world beat the casinos instead of being the hamster in the wheel, running the numbers and profit and loss statements like I did. I'm now going into my third year doing it, and the It's Bucket Show is just a day in the life of a sports bettor who took it on professionally, and now, shortly after, I went viral on Instagram, gaining 60,000 followers. Now I'm just going to track everything here on the It's Bucket Show. So make sure you follow me on all social platforms, and let's get right into the breakdown. The NBA world was woken up with some of the craziest news this morning. There was news that Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups were both handcuffed at 6 in the morning and arrested for illegal gambling. Two separate cases, Terry Rozier for sports gambling and Chauncey Billups for a rigged poker scheme. Terry Rozier has been under investigation for 2 years now for one game back in March 2023. He claimed to have had a foot injury and pulled himself out of a game, and after investigation, it turns out he told people before the game, hey, I'm going to get injured this game. Bet on my unders, whether you're going to bet on my points to go under, my rebounds to go under, my assists to go under. And then all of a sudden, hundreds of thousands of dollars across the country came in on his unders, and then surely enough, he had a fake injury, the bets were cashed, and it was flagged because you can't get away with that type of stuff in 2025 or 2023. And now he's arrested, and he's probably never going to play in the NBA again. He was on the Charlotte Hornets back then, and yeah, he's in deep shit. Chauncey Billups, on the other hand, was not involved in sports gambling. He is now the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, former NBA champion and Hall of Famer. He was actually part of a ring of illegal gambling where they had rigged poker games across the country. He would show up to these games, and since there was a celebrity there, it made people feel more comfortable, like, oh, no way these games are rigged. I watched the press release from the FBI today, and it turned out they had all type of crazy equipment where they had contacts and glasses that let people see what cards were at what spots on the table. They were sending text messages out to a different person who was texting other players back at the table, so certain players at the table knew how to play the game. Basically, they scam people out of tens of millions of dollars. Very well-known crime organizations were involved, and they basically scam people out of tens of millions of dollars playing these poker games. They had shufflers that were rigged to give certain people at the table certain cards. They had x-ray tables, some really wild shit going on. He was handcuffed at his home in Portland, Oregon this morning at 6 a.m. And Terry Rozier, after playing in Orlando last night, was handcuffed and arrested in Orlando. Both of these guys arrested for illegal gambling. The NBA world just broke some historic news, and it is wild to find out because they said that in court there's more evidence coming out and possibly more names. We might see more athletes getting arrested for illegal gambling. Wild what is coming after sports gambling and all this legalization in the past 5 years. It's not going anywhere. The game has changed. If you know anything about the NBA, most of the people that you talk to about the NBA are watching and sweating out parlays. Half the people I know, all my friends, they don't watch it because they're fans of a team anymore. They're watching it because they care about winning money in their parlay of a night. And that's what sports betting has gotten into. It's really starting to take over and change the scene, but they're cracking down on it with enforcement and obviously arresting some pretty big names. So that was a wild story to wake up to. But outside of all the drama, let's get back into how the last night went in the NBA. There were 12 games on. And you know me, always coming up with the hand crunch numbers. This is why I was hired at the casino. All I do is crunch numbers all day. I love this shit, and I love the NBA. I don't bet on any other sports. So let's talk about some of the sports betting trends last night. Underdogs went 8-3-1 to the spread last night, and there was 152 props on FanDuel last night, with 82 of them going over and 70 of them going under. very common for like 45% to go one way or the other. And as you know, we sell our VIP plays. Our VIP plays are now 4-1 to start the season after going 2-0 on day one, 2-1 on day two. 4-1. We are on fire. Our VIP is going crazy. And as you know, we post free player prop parlays every single day. We're 3-3 on those. Obviously, you can tell why they're free. It's a little harder, a little more variance betting on player props, but that's why in our VIP we bet on game spreads only. So let's talk about some of the stats last night. We had a bunch of guys going off, like a bunch of 40-point games. Let me pull up some of the numbers here. Anthony Edwards was the leading scorer last night with 41 points. Wemby scored 40. Maxey scored 40. We also had some near 40-point games with Giannis going 37, John Morant 35, DJ Edgecombe, the rookie, 34-point debut. That's insane. Donovan Mitchell scoring 31, and we actually bet on Donovan Mitchell to go under last night. He scored 21 points in the third quarter. That was the fifth most points he has ever scored in a single quarter in his career. Cannot see that type of stuff coming. So it's on to the next. We're going to have plays in tonight's games. There's only 2 games tonight, but make sure you are following us on all socials because we drop these free plays, and as the season goes on, we're only going to have more and more data to back it up, and our plays are only going to get better and better as the data stacks up and we have more trends to crunch. Tonight we have OKC versus Indiana. OKC is playing their second game of the year, and Indiana is playing their first game of the year. We have OKC who went into double overtime. Shea went over in game 1. That went over in game 1. Hartenstein, Dort, Wallace all went over in game 1. Shea actually scored 12 points in double overtime. In the first overtime, he had a 3 and a 2, and in the second overtime, the free throw merchant talk started to come back up. He went 1 of 2, 1 of 2, scored a layup, 1 of 2, and 2 of 2 from the free throw line. Just absolutely willing his team to a win from the free throw line. And you know that they don't like calling him the free throw merchant. That was the talk of the NBA playoffs last year. So I do not expect him to get nearly as many free throws again tonight, because if he does, all of a sudden all that bad talk about Shea is going to happen again in the league. Does not want their MVP, their king, their new star to be talked about like that. I'm actually taking Shea to go under 32.5 points tonight. That's going to be one of my 3 free props. So I'm dropping it first here on YouTube. If you want my other 2 free props, just follow along. I'm dropping a reel 1 hour before the first game of every single day in the NBA on all platforms. That's Instagram, X, Threads, YouTube. Make sure you follow. And when it comes to betting on any sport, the Action Network app signed me as a partner, and I've been with them for over a year now. It is an app where you could track your bets, you could shop live lines, and it might not seem like a lot if FanDuel is offering 130, minus 130, but DraftKings is offering minus 120. Maybe you always use one app over the other. You should always shop because, yes, it's only a 10-cent difference. But if you get a 10-cent difference on every bet for an entire year, you could be talking about a swing of hundreds or thousands of dollars, depending on how much you bet every day. And in the Action Network app, all you have to do is just go to a person. So you could scroll on the Action Network app, find Shea Alexander, and it will tell you which app has better odds. You don't need to go into both. I'll compare. Just go straight to the Action Network app. Get Action Pro, use code BUCKETS to get 16% off. That'll chop the yearly membership from $120 to $100. I also drop all my plays there with full write-ups. So when I'm not dropping my write-ups here on YouTube and telling you why I'm taking certain plays, which I will do eventually as the data adds up, I will have write-ups on the Action Network app. You could follow me on there too. And as you know, I'm not good at this long-form content stuff. I'm just trying to get better. So expect a lot more episodes. I'm going to be coming out with more and more episodes so I can get better at doing this podcasting stuff. Drop a like, drop a comment, and make sure you subscribe. Tell a friend to subscribe. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, and once I get 1,000 subscribers, that's the first step needed for YouTube to monetize my page and start paying me monthly to do this for a living and just give you free analysis all NBA season long for decades to come. And as always, it's buckets. I got every single team on my shirt, and I'm hyped for tonight's games. Let's go.